The T-Type is a series of popular Buick automotive models of the 1980s. This Buick marketing strategy was a rebirth of the Buick GS designation, which was popular in the 1960s and again revived in the 1990s. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the 1986 Buick Regal T-Type, and as usual, we'll be covering everything from exterior to interiors to engines and a lot more. So stick around till the end of the video. The Buick GNX was the most famous of the T-Type automobiles developed as performance-oriented models based on the Regal platform. Aftermarket turbochargers became popular around the time when the T-Type cars were in production, and Detroit adapted them for use on production vehicles such as the Regal. In 1981, Buick Rivera was the first model to use the T-Type emblem. Several years later, other Buick models will follow suit. To capitalize on its immediate popularity, the manufacturer extended the T-Type line to include its other mid-size model in 1982. In 1987, the T-Type series was at its peak. Turbocharged visions of the Sabre and Electra were available, but they did not come standard on the T-Type versions. Despite its strange appearance, the LeSabre T-Type Coupe design was a more cohesive touring car package based on the design highlights of the rare 1986 LeSabre Grand National. At the end of the same year, the GNX went down in automotive history as the fastest American car of 1987, a title it would hold until 1989. In the wake of its speed car reputation, many people referred to the GNX as a Corvette killer. In addition, its turbocharged V6 engine made it an appealing alternative to its V8-powered brothers, such as the Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS and Automobile 442, with comparable bodies, neither of which had the turbocharger available to them. An all-original gray cloth interior, circulating ball power steering, and a full 3-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel with polished aluminum trim are some of the features of this 1986 Buick Regal T-Type. A 4-speed GM turbo hydromatic automatic transmission with electronic overdrive and a low-gear selection was also included as standard equipment on the vehicle. It also has power windows, as well as headlamps and hazards. Back in the late 1980s, the Buick Regal Turbo and Grand National were two of the most revered American performance rear-wheel drive vehicles. For the first time ever, they were available in a completely blacked-out design. Silver with contrasting black trim was one of several color options for the T-Type. The vehicle has an AM/FM cassette deck with a graphic equalizer, manually dimming rear-view mirror. The vehicle also came with air conditioning. The car's exterior has one of the most frightening appearances of any domestic American vehicle from the later part of the 1980s, a Buick, no less. It's also possible to get the GNX honeycomb center part of the GNX at full power brakes, with this in the front trunk and back, mounted on the 245/60 tires as an option for the T-Type's 5-spoke aluminum alloy. With a total weight of 3,210 pounds, the vehicle is approximately 200.6 inches long and 70.5 inches wide, with a height of 54.6 inches. The turbocharged 3.8-liter sequential fuel-injected pushrod V6 develops 245 horsepower at 4,400 RPM and a phenomenal 355 foot-pounds of torque at 2,800 RPM, making these viewer turbos a force to be reckoned with. The coil springs front and back with an independent double wishbone configuration for the live axle and the Garrett turbocharger. This vehicle's 0 to 60 time is roughly 5.9 seconds. And that was incredible for a vehicle like this in the late 1980s. At roughly 94 miles per hour, the quarter-mile time was around 14.5 seconds, and the peak speed was roughly 124 miles per hour. Although GM's Buick line is best known for its conservative, middle-class sedans, it has fostered a racy image from time to time. A mean-looking, all-black street rod that some Buick executives nicknamed Darth Vader in the mid-1980s was Buick's final attempt to get into the performance car industry. Lloyd Roos, Buick's chief engineer and eventually general manager, was primarily responsible for Buick's strange venture into turbocharging in the late 70s and early 1980s. Roos, like his spiritual successor, GM product czar Bob Lutz, was adored by auto enthusiasts and the media. Roos was brilliant, handsome, fashionable, and above all, a dedicated car guy. Despite this, Bruce had a rocky start to his career. He came to Buick from Chevrolet, where he worked as lead project engineer on the disastrous subcompact Vega, and then as assistant chief engineer, where he oversaw the creation of the Cosworth Vega, which was a limited production failure. Bruce did not have the opportunity to build a name for himself until he was promoted to chief engineer at Buick. An air-to-air intercooler was added to the engine design for 1986, boosting the horsepower and torque to 235 horsepower and 330 foot-pound for 47 newton-meters of torque, respectively, at 4,000 RPM and 2,400 RPM. Both the Grand Nationals and the T-Types were produced in 1986 in large numbers, with 245 horsepower, 248 kilowatts, and 481 newton-meters of torque. The 1987 model was the most powerful. For 1987 Regal models, Buick discontinued the T-Type package and replaced it with a T Sport package. In 1986, a meager 7,896 Turbo Regals were built. This peak year in 1987 saw a total of 27,590 Turbo Regals built through December, with the 1987.5 Buick Grand National window stickers on those made between September and December. Limited production GNX, meaning Grand National Experimental, was released by Buick in 1987 for $29,900, which is about $71,317 in 2022. Only 557 GNs with the interior trim package were created by Buick in collaboration with McLaren Performance Technologies, ASC, and shipped to McLaren to be converted to the Buick GNX. In reality, the GNX produces 300 horsepower, 304 kilowatt, 569 newton-meters, and 420 pounds-feet of torque, 420 newton-meters, at 3,000 revolutions per minute, which is a significant underestimation by Buick. The Grand National of all Grand Nationals was the goal in mind with the creation of this vehicle. In addition to a new Garrett Air Research T3 turbocharger with a ceramic impeller, the intercooler was upgraded with a Cermetal ceramic aluminum coated pipe, allowing for more efficiency and capacity. More performance upgrades included a GNX-specific EEPROM low-restriction exhaust with dual mufflers, reprogrammed turbo hydromatic 204R transmission with a modified torque converter and transmission cooler, and a unique differential cover panhard bar. Changes in the exterior exclude vents on each front fender, 16-inch black mesh type wheels with VR Speed certified tires. Also, the hood and fender badges were removed. A serial number on the dash plaque and a redesigned instrument cluster with Stewart Warner analog instruments, including an analog turbo boost gauge, were also among the GNX's interior improvements. With a 14-mile, 402-meter time of 12.7 seconds at a 113.1 miles per hour, 182 kilometers per hour, 0.3 and 0.8 seconds faster, 2.9 and 13.3 miles per hour, 21 kilometers faster, and a 0 to 60 mile per hour, 97 kilometers per hour, time of 4.6 seconds. It outperformed the Ferrari F40 and Porsche 930 on the drag strip, 0.4 and 0.3 seconds quicker, respectively. The 1986 prototype GNX, number 001, is currently held by Buick and makes appearances at vehicle shows across the United States. For greater traction, the GNX employed a unique torque arm that was connected to a specific GNX-only rear differential cover. The torque arm rear suspension modifies the suspension geometry, causing the body to rise while planting the rear tires, increasing traction. The all-black GNX and Grand National's stealthy design, along with the fact that it was first produced around the time when Star Wars movies were popular, earned it the nickname Darth Vader's car. The unveiling of the GNX model was reported by Car and Driver under the headline, "Lord Vader, your car is ready." Grand Nationals were called the Dark Side because of the turbocharged six-cylinder engine, the Buick brand, and the black paint. The Dark Side stood in stark contrast to the popular V8 Mustangs and Camaros of the period. What do you think about this vintage automobile? Let us know in the comment section.